In this video, I will be teaching you exactly how to focus and pay attention in class. But before that, I want to tell you a story about me. So if you don't know who I am a year 12 going into year 13 student who's predicted all A stars in his A-level subjects. But I have a story to tell you. In about year 9 or year 10, I was sitting in science class and I was playing a game. Now this game isn't really played by a lot of people because it's kind of rude and it's kind of like niche. But me and a group of friends who are all brown were playing Swap the Brown Person. So how it works is is that racist? I don't even know if that's racist. Maybe, I don't even care. Okay, me and my South Asian birchwood coloured friends were playing this one game in class, right? When a substitute teacher would come in, like a substitute teacher is basically a teacher that it doesn't really teach you often. They just come in because the teacher's ill or something. We would play this game where all of like my mates who are all brown skinned would all swap places and see how long it would take the teacher to realize that they've swapped places, and like the person who lasts the longest wins. And we all, like most of us, we would last the entire time, like pretty much the entire lesson before the teacher caught us, basically. But when I was doing this, right, when I was swapping with my Pakistani friend, there was something that hit me. I saw the students around my class who were actually paying attention to the teacher and paying attention to the textbook. Now, deep down inside, that I knew that I was kind of embarrassed to do this. Now I have like an actual like study YouTube channel, but back then I wasn't really concentrated in class. I know my parents really wanted me to get high grades, and me doing this in class felt like really wrong. But fair enough, yeah. It's only year 9 or year 10. Fast forward 1 year when I'm in year 11. So year 11 in the UK is when you write your GCSEs. Now these are the first public exams that you write. And I was sitting in chemistry class next to my Pakistani best friend. Now, I don't really know why I've specified Pakistani, but yeah, we were sat right at the back of the class. Now, we were both, the teacher, the chemistry teacher, I was actually kind of scared of him. He was just like big, tall guy. And he was teaching a topic called organic chemistry in like the chapters of chemistry. Now me, I thought this chapter was absolutely dead, and I hadn't really been listening. I hadn't been listening at all for the last month or so. I had no clue what was going on in class at all. I had literally no clue what organic chemistry even was, right? And we had a mock exam a couple of weeks from then. Now, me and my friend were sat on our phones. He's watching TikToks, I'm watching Instagram Reels. I look over to his phone, and his TikTok FYP is solely like, this sounds so weird, but his TikTok FYP, like his feed, is solely dwarf people. His entire TikTok feed, as much as you scroll down, it's just filled with dwarf people. I don't have anything against dwarf people, but I found it really weird and kind of funny that his entire TikTok was just filled with just flipping dwarf people. Now I burst out laughing in class, and the teacher, like, he calls out my name, Shuid, tell me what this is. Now, I hadn't been listening in like a month. I had no clue what was going on in chemistry. Yeah, this is chemistry, bro. It's such a dead subject, anyways. But I had no clue what was going on. He calls me into the in front of everyone, in front of the entire class, to draw like some kind of alkane or like some kind of structure of some like chemical, right? I didn't know what was going on, honestly. So I just drew some random thing, and then the entire class burst out laughing. Teacher sends me outside the class. As I'm waiting outside of class, I get the same feeling, this same embarrassing feeling where I know I could have done better. I made the whole class laugh, right? But that was it. I didn't actually understand anything. It was really embarrassing knowing that my parents and everyone around me put pressure on me to get good grades in this subject, but I just didn't focus in class. Now, at GCSEs, after GCSEs, I got the good results. I crammed afterwards, right? I got the good result. I got the grade 9. I got the A star in the subject. But I always had this one thing, but I just couldn't focus in class. I couldn't pay attention to what the teacher was saying in class. Now fast forward 1 more year. I have this YouTube channel. It semi-blows up. I have thousands and thousands of subscribers subscribe to me because I'm like a role model student. I have qualities of like someone who studies a lot, have good grades. But now I'm sitting in year 12, further mathematics. So further mathematics is like the hardest like maths you can do at A-level, at like before you go to university. It's really hard maths, right? And we're doing something called parametric integration. Now, because I had this channel, because I had like good results at GCSE, I thought that I thought that I was a good student, but apparently not. Now I'm watching Revishan I don't know why I'm watching Revishan, but I'm watching Revishan. By the way, I'm filming in like this office space in India, so if you hear some like weird like horn noise outside, it's because it's the road noise outside, because I'm on holiday. But hopefully like I'll get back to England and you won't get this like weird like Indian people shouting outside this office space. But back to the story, right? I'm in year 12, I'm in further mathematics, I'm listening to parametric integration, and I haven't paid attention for the entire topic. What's worse is that I have this YouTube channel, I have like subscribers that look up to me, but I literally don't know what's going on. I'm watching Revishan in class. But Revishan is such an... Whenever I watch any Revishan content, something bad happens. Revishan is literally the #1 op of this channel. So if you like Revishan, click off this video. But anyway, I'm watching Revishan, I'm watching some like random video of this. And then the teacher asked me, oh yeah, how do you integrate this? I don't know what's going on. I literally don't know what's going on at all. And again, I know, there's something deep inside me that's embarrassing that I can't stay focused in class. I can't do what every single other person in class is doing and just stay focused in class. The thing is, right, I didn't do this willingly. Like, I didn't think in my mind, okay, I'm not gonna concentrate in class. It started off with me trying to concentrate in class. I was trying to pay attention. I tried to listen to what the teacher's saying, but I just can't. There's something inside me that just can't stay focused to what the teacher's saying. If you kind of relate to this, if you can't focus in class on what the teacher's saying, this could be a very good reason that you fail your exam. This could be a very big reason to why you don't perform good in exams or tests, and this is a very bad life skill to have. If someone's talking to you and you don't listen to them, even in this video, if you're not listening to what I'm saying, it's a very bad life skill to have and it could cause you to have bad success in the future. This is why I have done some research over the last 2 to 3 weeks in behavioral science. I've read books and I've watched podcasts, neurologists podcasts and stuff, and I formulated the perfect plan to staying focused and paying attention in class. This guide will make you one of the best, most focused students in class, and you'll just get better grades from that. I don't want this to be some random YouTube NPC video where I just tell you to, oh yeah, just stay focused in class, guys. Pay attention, sit at the front and look at the teacher. I know that I could have just done that. I could have got more views if I just said the basic advice that doesn't really work. But I really wanted to actually formulate a plan that I would use myself to help me pay attention in class. So I hope you would appreciate that I've put in a lot of work into making this guide, and give it a like and subscribe. If this guide has genuinely helped you, which I really want, I don't really care about the views on this video, I just want it to help people. And if this has really helped and genuinely changed your life in the sort of professor or class scenario, give this a like, give this a subscribe, and share it to other people. Anyways, if you do follow this basic advice of just going and sitting in front of class and then just looking at the teacher, it won't really help at all. And I've tried this myself. I've tried this for years, 2 years, 3 years, but I've genuinely tried to stay focused in class, but it just hasn't worked. This video will probably tell you why. So in this video, I'm going to give you a framework to staying focused in class. In return, I want you to give me your full attention. If you have this video playing, click the full screen button. I don't want you to go watch random videos by Revishan or something, or get distracted by YouTube or TikTok whilst you're watching this video. If you are watching this video, give it your full attention. And if you don't think you can stay focused for the entire duration of this entire video, watch it in breaks. Don't scroll to the comments. Just watch it, give it your 100% focus, and try to learn from what I'm going to say in this video. That brings me on to part 1, the step-by-step guide to achieve productivity in class. Step number 1 is clarifying your goals when you're in class. What do we even want when we're in class? What is our goal in class? When you clarify this, it makes it so easy to improve, because if you just have no goals, if you have nothing, then it's hard to make you improve towards your goals if you just don't have them, right? So our goals in class is to understand content, and I'll tell you why. It's understanding, and also I'll tell you again. It's not to isolate ourselves from the rest of our class. I'll tell you why. In your classroom, the way your classroom is set up, is fundamentally wrong. Like, if you look at how deep work and working works, the way a classroom is set up is bad for memorizing content and also practicing content. You will get distracted from the person next to you, and you will get distracted from other trains of thought from other people in your room. The only way you can, like, in a very good manner, memorize and practice the content is outside of class, in your own time. That is the only way. I've tried again and again to memorize and do practice questions in class, and they have not worked. And I've seen other people who've only relied on memorizing content and practicing content in class, and this may work in like young years, but it doesn't work when it comes to A-levels, and they get bad grades because of it. The only way you can memorize and practice content is outside of class. I know that this kind of defeats the purpose of school, but that's how it is. If you want good grades, you memorize and practice content outside of class. Instead, what we want to achieve in our classrooms is to understand content or understand the topic, and also form like good moments. You don't want to be that one neek in class that just laughs whenever the teacher says a joke and then just doesn't talk to anyone else. Personally, I would hate to have that, because when I look back to like year 11, year 10, I don't really care about the grade that much. Like, the grade is like, of course you want the highest grade possible, but again, with that, you want to form like these good moments in class. I wouldn't remember year 10 science if we didn't play Swap the Brown Person. I wouldn't remember year 11 chemistry without my teacher shouting at me. These like very, very like fun moments in class cannot be replicated if you just isolate yourself from everyone in your class. And this is most of the advice online, right? It's telling you to isolate yourself from the rest of the class and just don't be distracted, don't talk to anyone, and just focus on what the teacher's saying, and then just sit at the front. But I'm telling you that this is the bad way to go about school, right? You want to form good memories, good like relationships with your friends. That sounds weird, but you want to form like good relationships and like friends in class, and like for me it just defeats the whole purpose if you just isolate yourself from the rest. So we want to understand content, but we don't want to isolate ourselves from the rest of the people around us. These are our two main goals: to A, don't isolate ourselves from the rest of the class, but B, also be productive and understand content. Now we've clarified these goals, we can move on to the next step in this protocol, which is how understanding works. Step number 2, how understanding works. Now we've clarified our goals in class. We want to not be too engrossed and isolated from the people around us, but we also want to be productive in the sense that we want to understand the content, but not memorize and not practice the content in class. Now we've clarified them. How do you understand content, and what is understanding? So understanding is defined as forming connections from known information. So when I explaining is the process of making someone else understand. So when I explain to you a topic, it's taking your known information that you already are familiar with and already have connections in your brain with, and forming new neural connections. You then it's basically linking two different known topics together. And I'm going to demonstrate this in 2 ways. Number one is I'm going to explain to you, if you've just done like GCSEs, this is kind of targeted towards you. So I'm going to explain to you what differentiation is to GCSE students. So differentiation is basically, you have like in GCSE you have y is equal to maybe 3x squared, that graph, right? You have that parabola, it's called a parabola, the shape of the graph. What differential calculus is basically transforming that to, instead of when you put in like an x value, it gives you, so imagine I have y is equal to 3x squared. If I put in the x coordinate of 2, the y coordinate of that will be 12, right? It'll be the point 2, 12. Now, what you do is when you differentiate that, when you perform differential calculus on that, you're now transforming that expression into, whenever you put in the x value, it's going to give you the gradient of the curve. So now, when I differentiate that, 3x squared becomes 6x. So now, whenever I put in an x value, it tells me the gradient of that function at that point. So now, if you were a GCSE student, you should have like sort of understood from that. You should have put together. I know my explanation is a bit iffy if you're actually like proper math student. That's all I can say from like a year 12, going into year 13 maths and further math student. But like now you've put together two pieces of information together. You've known what a function is. You know what like a parabola is. You know what an x and y coordinate is. Now we've linked together. You know what a gradient is as well. Now we've linked together all of them, and I've told you that this performs it gives you the gradient. If you didn't know what a gradient was, understanding would be useless. You wouldn't have understood. Now I'm going to demonstrate like to a GCSE student why you wouldn't understand what parametric integration is. Why? If I explain to you what parametric integration is, it's basically forming a Cartesian equation from three equations that depend on one, two different equations that depend on one variable, differentiating with respect to that variable and changing the limits. You wouldn't know, if you were a GCSE student, you wouldn't understand what that was because you don't know what integration is. You don't know what limits are. You don't know what like a Cartesian equation is, I don't think. If you would have known what these are, this would have been so much easier to understand. You may think I'm like being very condescending now, like I'm being very simplistic, but no, this is the reason why you can't stay focused in class. When you try to stay focused in class, you're probably like, you're listening to the teacher, but now you miss out a very key fundamental piece of information your teachers have said, right? Imagine your teacher saying something and you just miss out, or like he goes off on a tangent, or he forgets to include a certain fundamental piece of information. Now that breaks the understanding formula, because now when he moves on to another topic, or he moves on to explaining that topic, you don't have the information required to understand the topic. This is prevalent within pretty much the whole of the class, right? No student can like actively listen to exactly what a teacher is saying, right? And if you've missed out a key piece of information from what the teacher's saying, your entire lesson's worth is gone. This explains why I couldn't, like when I tried to focus, and then if I just missed a lesson, I just wouldn't focus for the entire month or the entire topic, because I've missed a particular piece of information that the teacher has said beforehand, like that defines the topic. And now, like down the line, when he's explaining a more complex topic, I don't have the fundamental information to understand that topic, right? That was a long explanation of what understanding was. But this is why you can't stay focused in class. It's basically because you don't listen well. Actually, no, it's not because you don't listen well. It could be the teacher's fault. It could be a various variety of class. If you have like some weird like kid who keeps shouting in class and you just miss what the teacher's saying, then that could also be a reason why you don't understand. There's a variety of reasons why you can't understand, but now we've identified the problem of how like people don't understand things in class and why you can't stay focused. Now we can go on to the actionable steps of what you should do to stay focused and understand content in class. Step number 1 to understand content better in class is to learn content beforehand. This seems counterproductive. Why are you telling me to learn something that the teacher's like job is to do? But for me, like it's always been the case that if I go through even briefly a topic before a teacher or before a lesson, I always stay so much more engaged in class. And I'll provide you a story with this, right? So about 4 months ago, I had a friend who came to this school with me, and I told him that I didn't know anything about the topic. And I kind of did the bad thing of like going away, and I just wanted to see what would happen if I just learned a topic beforehand. And not even like learn, I just watched a YouTube video on a topic in further maths called matrices beforehand. Now we're having like a lecture in class. We have like a lecture room in school. So we go into the lecture room and the teacher begins like lecturing us on how matrices works and stuff. But suddenly, because I've even briefly gone over matrices beforehand, I'm so engaged into what the teacher's saying. It's almost like a superpower. I know exactly what the teacher's saying. This is unheard of for me. I'm always distracted in class. I'm always thinking of something else. I'm always thinking about recording YouTube videos, for example, in class. But now, for this one time, because I've learned, because I'm familiar with content beforehand, even briefly, I just watched some random like YouTube video on matrices. I'm so much more engaged in class. I'm asking so much more questions. Even the neek in class is like, wow, this guy knows like a lot about matrices. Like the whole class sort of is surprised at how many questions I'm asking, how engaged I am in class. My social aura, my academic aura just goes up because I've watched the YouTube video on this random topic beforehand. This is such a big superpower, and it works because you've already done the hard part of forming these new connections. You've already sort of done the hard work to understand the topic beforehand, and now when you go into school, the lesson isn't wasted because now you know the content beforehand. You've done the hard work of forming these connections between your neurons, and you're just reinforcing that. You're just like strengthening those, like you're just strengthening your understanding when you go into school and you go into class to learn this topic. So this is the first step of the topic. I would recommend you to like sit down on a weekend before it, like for example, if you start a new topic in like any subject, I would recommend you sit down on a weekend or so and try and watch an entire like 1 to 2 hour long YouTube video on that entire topic. Like I state entire topic because when you sort of understand the entire topic, it's already like easier to scope the subject as well. So now you know that if you've watched an entire YouTube video on that topic, you go into class and then you're already just engaged. You're more engaged in class, and it's just easier to reinforce those connections in class. And now you go into class, now everyone thinks you're smart. Like the class sneak is like threatened by your academic aura, and he's like surprised at how much you know about the class as well. So yeah, that the TLDR of this entire section is learn or just briefly go over the topic before you go over it in class. Step number 2, limits note-taking to increase confidence in the topic. Now, you've probably seen this before, right? You've probably seen these like sneaky students in class that literally transcribe what the teacher's saying. You've seen these students in class that as the teacher speaks, they're like copying down exactly every single word of like what the teacher's saying. Or if you have like lesson slides in class, you've probably seen people that literally just copy word to word what the slides say. That was me as well. That's probably been you as well. You've probably at one time just copied down exactly what someone was saying. But this is wrong. Put down the pen and understand the content. When you write down exactly what someone else is saying, you don't engage into the content. It limits the reinforcement of those connections that you want to do when you're understanding in class. Please limit your note-taking in class. Like the only time you should be taking notes is when you've already understood a concept. You don't write notes as the teacher is saying something. So for example, if we emulate like a teacher setup, if the teacher is saying, okay, this and this about this content, put your pen down and look at the teacher. Like try to listen at what the teacher's saying. Once you've understood that, maybe at the end, then you put down your notes. And you should be making notes in a very specific way as well. The way you should be making notes is not just like writing paragraphs after paragraphs. It should be in something called the Cornell note-taking system. This is basically, I'm not going to explain what the Cornell note-taking system is. You should probably like go away and see how to structure your notes. But basically, what it is it's a method of like writing questions and then bullet pointing the answers underneath. It's a very powerful method of like note-taking as well. Personally, I know I'm going on a side tangent, but personally for me, I've never been able to go back on my notes and like revise from them. But when I've started taking these Cornell notes, I can like, as soon as I go back in class, I can actually like reuse my notes. This is unheard of for me. I've like, throughout my entire GCSEs, I don't think I opened a single book. I read all of the information online, but this is kind of bad. You want to be going over your past notes, and the way you do this is through the Cornell note-taking system. Step number 3, grill your teacher / ChatGPT for answers. Your teachers love, and I can pretty much guarantee this, unless you have like a really weird teacher, they probably really like when you ask questions. And I see that this is a very, very bad, like people don't exploit this. And I want to give you this analogy. When you play, I think GTA or Red Dead, I can't even remember, I think it's GTA, you go into this like certain shop and you go and ask the like shopkeeper what the menu is, or like you ask them about like the restaurant, and the shopkeeper gets increasingly annoyed as soon, like the more questions you ask them, the shopkeeper gets like increasingly annoyed, but they will always give you, they are like obliged to give you the information. It's crazy how they implemented this gameplay aspect into real life. In real life, your teachers it's literally their occupation to give you answers to questions. The more questions you ask, the more they should be answering those questions. It's literally their job to answer your questions when it comes to a like subject. So like when I see a lot of people just being socially awkward and like not asking your teachers like questions, I'm like, it's literally a job, you know what I mean? So whenever you are in class, ask them whatever question you want, no matter how dumb or stupid the teacher may think you are. The amount of questions I asked in class is insane. My math teacher, I think, thinks I'm some like simpleton by now, but I just asked the most stupidest, simplest question in class in front of everyone. And my goal is like, the stupider the question, like the more simple the question, the easier it is for me to understand. Of course, don't be weird. Don't like ask like weird questions to your teacher. Like, hey sir, can I lick your forehead? No, don't be weird. Just like ask normal questions pertaining to the topic, and they are literally obliged to answer you. Also, if you have like this fear of talking to your teacher, I know a lot of people have this like weird like fear of asking questions to a teacher. I actually have a good practice for you. What you need to do is ask your teacher one question per class. Like, make it your like goal every single day to ask them one question per class. It can be anything. It can be what the date is. It can be what like the weather is. Now you've asked them one question. After like a month or so, when you've done this consistently, ask them 2 questions, and then 3 questions, and then 4 questions. And then before you know it, if you keep on progressively overloading the amount of questions you ask in class, you're going to come to a point where you get your reports back and you are deemed as the most engaged student, the most participating student, without being like this weird socially awkward neek. You're just like the best student in class. And that's such a cool like scenario to have, because now sorry, my camera just cut off randomly. Where was I? Oh yeah. When you do this, you're going to be the most engaged student, and you're just going to get better grades. You're more likely to get better predicted grades, and your teachers are just going to like you more. So if you just do this practice of trying to ask questions to your teachers, you're just going to be a better student in general. It's not going to hurt you. But if you don't like the response that your teacher said, or if you just don't like your teacher, what you can do is you can go on ChatGPT or any AI software and then ask them, explain this topic to me as if I'm a 15-year-old. Now, this like prompt has worked tremendously for me, because if I have a very hard topic like circular motion in physics, I can go and ask a very specific question to ChatGPT, explain this topic as if I was a 15-year-old, and it really like breaks it down with analogies of how it works. And these analogies really help me. So if a concept is really complex, consider explaining this, because I don't think your teachers are professional speakers, but ChatGPT, it will give you like the best analogies to help you understand the topic. So that concludes this video. If you just do these 3 things in this framework, you will get better grades, you will get better predicted grades, and your lessons just won't fly by, and you'll actually understand and gain something from your lessons. So again, if I want to recap this, the first thing you need to do is learn or familiarize yourself with the content beforehand. Even if this is like watching some random YouTube video online, you just want to familiarize yourself and do the hard work of trying to understand the concept before you step into the classroom. The second thing is limit your note-taking in class. Put down your pen and listen to what your teachers are saying. For me, especially because I'm in like year 12 and I'm in grammar school, and my grammar school allows like devices like iPad to write like stuff down, I had so much like hardship trying to listen to the teacher, because I would always be fiddling around with my pen and stuff. But now going into year 13, I really want to just put down my pen and listen to what the teachers are saying and make the Cornell notes later. The third thing is asking as many questions as possible to your teacher until they kind of get annoyed, and until they think you're some kind of like simpleton or like they think you're kind of dumb. But they won't think you're dumb. They'll probably just think like, oh yeah, you're just asking, and you're probably the only person actually trying to listen in class. So if you just do these 3 things and try to implement them in your classes, you will improve massively. Before I end this video, one thing I do want to grind down on is, when 5 years later, after your school is done, you won't care about your grades. The only reason I remember year 10 science is because I played Swap the Brown Person. The only reason I remember year 11 chemistry is because I used to sit next to my like Pakistani best friend in the back of the classroom and muck about the entire lesson, and then get sent out and then get shouted at. But I'm not telling you to do this, of course, don't do this, but the memories you make in class are way more important than pretty much anything else. Of course, you want the highest grade in class. You are aiming for the highest grade you're aiming for the highest grade possible, or the highest grade that you can get. But make memories along the way. if I was like sponsored by a school, or like my school was telling me to make this video, I would say, oh no, just like exclude yourself and don't muck about in class. But muck about in class, man. Mess about in class. You're going to go from school, and then the only thing you have is to remember your classes, is when you've mucked about, is when you have those moments in class where everyone's just laughing at something, and you just muck about with your mates. These are the memories you're going to hold for the rest of your life. So, of course, be productive. Use these frameworks in class. But this isn't the same as any other like video I make, because we're not trying to be the best or like most productive. We're trying to make memories as well. So try it. Like the way I do it is, if you use my framework, it won't really take that much time. You can kind of just listen in class without talking to your friends. Try to have this like balance in class. But of course, if you use the method outlined in this video, you will significantly improve. So when you do get your grades, when you do get your predicted grades and they are high, when you get your results and they are very high, and someone asks you how you've changed so much and how you're so focused in class, recommend them this video if it helps. Like this video if it's helped you, and if you think it will help you, comment down below a reason or like some struggle you have in class, and share this video to anyone you think requires it. I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next full guide. Bye.